My year has already gotten off to a great start with all the books I've read so far. How has your year been so far? I'm going to lay out what I read in January and February, so stay tuned. Welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah. Today I'm going to share my book reviews for January and February. I really dropped the ball for February reads, but it's never too late. And I know we're already in March, but here it is. So the first book I'm going to be talking about is The Sisters of Seaview by Julie Klassen. And this book is historical fiction. It's about three sisters who, along with their mother, are losing money and don't really have a way to make money. And if they don't make them money, they're going to lose the property. They have no father, they have no brothers. And back in Jane Austen Regency times, it was very difficult for a woman with no money to make money. And they come up with the idea of putting up their house as a B&B, where people can come, stay at a seaside resort, and, spend their money. And they actually do turn their house into a very lively place where they have some interesting characters, one with a stuffed parrot. And it's just a very sweet, it was a very sweet, calm read. I enjoyed the relationships between the sisters. Each sister has their own love interest, except for the youngest one who's 15, so she's a little young. Although back in those days, that wasn't too young. And then you just kind of discover their friendships, their loves, how the town rallies together in the face of disaster toward the end of the book. This is a series. It's number 1 on Devonshire shores, so I suspect we'll be hearing more from these sisters in the future. I believe I gave it a 4. It was a good, solid read for the beginning of the year. I enjoyed it, as I said. It was calm. It was in the genre that I do enjoy reading, so it was a great way to start off the year. Next, I read The Haunting of Aveline Jones. I would love to dish on it here, but the Rambling Readers and I was going to say the Rambling Readers and I, but I'm a part of the Rambling Readers. So we Rambling Readers will be talking about this book sometime, I think within the next 2 weeks. We've been pushing it back, and we're finally going to get to this. It's a middle grade horror read, ghost story. All I can say is I'm not usually into middle grade stuff, but I just loved this, and it was scary. That's all I'm going to say. The next one I read was The Parasitic Mind, How Infectious Ideas Are Killing Common Sense. This one is written by Gad Saad. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. And I borrowed it from a very good friend of mine. It talks about how political correctness is seriously destroying, or has the potential to destroy, common sense, and how it is infringing upon the freedoms of speech, free speech, free press, and it logically points out the fallacies of political correctness and how everything is offensive these days. If it offends you, it's offensive and it shouldn't be talked about. And I appreciated how the book really went into a lot of detail. This was a very detailed book, so I appreciate that. And I do believe that there's a place in public, amongst friends, amongst family, amongst people, to discourse their different opinions on different subjects. And I believe it's definitely possible to do this without disrespecting someone. because acceptance of views does not equal respect of views, or sorry, respect of persons. So I may respect you, I may love you, and I may disagree with you on a certain view that you have. It doesn't nix the fact that I love you or that I respect you. It just means we have different opinions. And so how there are groups of people who view other groups of people as dangerous because they have different opinions. And I think that, and also the book lays out how that is very dangerous, and how common sense is slowly being killed because these ideas of political correctness are like parasites, specifically in the universities and higher learning institutions. Now, I'm not saying that those institutions don't have a place and that they're doing good and people are going there to learn, but they can be a breeding ground for ideas that can be detrimental to society. And we're slowly starting to see, not even slowly, we're at a point where we're definitely seeing that now, where there are many things that are offensive, and I guess some groups of people feel that they need to put other groups of people in their place because of their offensive ideas, although they just may be differing opinions. So that's a really great read. I enjoyed it. It was easy to follow, so I gave it a 5 stars. And whether you agree or not, I think it's always good to read through how someone is logically showing how an idea can be inconclusive or detrimental. So that's what the Parasitic Ideas is all about. Next, I read Transformations, a collection by Alexander Michael. And I'm really excited because next week I'm going to be doing a single book review for him. It's long overdue. I finished this book while I was in Cuba, so this is, I'm excited to get on to this and talk about this next week, so that will come then. And then I also have a book that I read for book club called Wendy, Darling. Wendy, Darling by A.C. Wise is a book that shows Wendy as a mother. She's older and she has a daughter, Jane. And one night she comes into her daughter's room and Peter Pan is there and takes her daughter to Neverland, except Peter keeps calling Jane Wendy, even though Wendy tells him, no, she's not Wendy, I'm Wendy, and he doesn't believe her and he just whisks her daughter away. And she finds the belief to fly to Neverland to save her daughter from Peter Pan. And when she gets there, Neverland is completely different. The pirates are gone. They sailed away on their ship. The Indians, or Injuns, as Peter calls them, are husks. Just, they could be blown away in the wind. The mermaids have died. Neverland is this roiling nightmare of death and fear. And as Wendy is searching for her daughter, there's snapshots to the past of her when she came back from Neverland when she was younger, and how everyone deemed her crazy, so she was sent to this asylum. And there in this asylum, she meets this young Indigenous woman called Mary, whom she loves very much and becomes very close with. And then it shows how she gets out and how she even has Jane in the first place. So I really did enjoy the past timeline with the present timeline, and also switches to Jane's view and account of things. But what I really liked most is, you know, when you're younger as a kid, you watch Peter Pan, you're just so taken away by all the magic. But as you're an adult, you realize how messed up Peter Pan, the story, actually is. And you think it's so irresponsible. And what this book does is it takes that adult way of looking at it and just runs with it, makes it darker, more dramatic. So I would say it's a little horror. It has some elements of horror in it, and so you see Wendy having to battle against the past and the present to get to her daughter Jane, and the dark, dark secret behind Peter Pan and his shadow. So if you want to read more and know, Wendy, darling, I give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it overall. It was captivating. There were some parts that were a little slow, but overall, it was a good read. And then the last book I read in February was The Shapes of Wrath by Melissa Yee. And I would like to also do a single book review for this. That will be after Transformation, so in 2 weeks' time. She's a local author, part of my book club, and we all read her book for book club and shared our thoughts, but I thought I would introduce her to you guys and share my thoughts on her book with you all. It's a medical thriller, so murder mystery in a hospital setting. Very well written. Easy to follow. I'm not going to say any more because I'm going to save it all for that single book review. I've read 2 so far in March. I've read Book Lovers and Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. And you know what? I'm not really going to do a TBR for this video just because I'm in a mood of not choosing really. Like, I have 2 books in schedule in place, but that might change. I don't know. Just for this month, you're not going to get a TBR. You're just going to have to wait to the end of the month to see what I read. And that's it for today. What was your favorite book so far this year? I think my favorite out of all of them so far are tied between the last 2 I read, Siege and Storm and Book Lovers. Very different. Siege and Storm is fantasy. Book Lovers is a contemporary rom-com. But those are my 2 favorites so far this year. But I would love to hear yours. Share it down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.